Young Chinese are getting paid to be full-time children as jobs become harder to find. The jobless rate for young people in China has hit consecutive record highs. CNN, Hong Kong CNN, exhausted by the pressure to succeed as the photographer, Li Li accepted a better offer, quit to work to become one of the China's growing regions of children paid by their families to stay home. Li 21, now spends her days grocery shopping for her family in the central city of Luoyang and caring for her grandmother who has dementia. Her parents pay her a salary of 6,000 yuan, $835 a month, which is considered a solid middle class wage in her area. The reason why I'm at home is because I can't bear the pressure of going to school or work. Sadly, a high school graduate, I don't want to compete intensely with my peers, so I choose to lie flat completely, she said, using a popular phrase that refers to eschewing growing, gro- growing hours and traditional family values in favor of pursuing a simple life. I don't necessarily need a higher paid job or the better life, she added. Lee is not alone, and it's not just the dissatisfaction driving the phenomenon of full time sons and daughters, a label which first appeared on popular Chinese social media site Douban late last year. Most of the tens of thousands of young people identifying as such on social media say they are retreating home because they simply can't get work. Colleague graduate looking for a job at a fair in central China's Hebei province on July 20. The jobless rate for 16 to 24 years olds in urban areas hit 21.3% last month, a record high. Youth employment has joined a number of headwinds: tepid domestic consumption, a retreat by private industry, and the struggling property market in becoming a major headache for China's leadership as the country's post-COVID recovery visuals out. CNN spoke to job seekers in Beijing this March, and the problem may be much bigger than official data suggests. Dan, associate professor at Peking University, wrote in an opinion piece last week for news outlet Caixin that if 60 million young people lying flat at home or relying on their parents are included, and therefore not actively looking for work, the true unemployment rate for youth could have been as high as 46.5% in March, a growing trend on Douban. About 4,000 members of a group called the Full-Time Children's Work Communication Center discuss topics related to their daily working lives. The buzzword has spread to other social media platforms. On Xiaohongshu, China's most popular lifestyle sharing platform among younger people, there are currently more than 40,000 posts under a full-time sons and daughters hashtag. Primarily, primary in primarily in their 20s, they said they are different from Ken Lao Ju, which roughly translates to the generation that eats the old. The previous phenomenon popular among those born in the 1980s. Those 30 something studies and pushed hard to get ahead in their careers and opened little at home despite relying on family for help with the rent and other expenses. By contrast, today's professional children spend time with parents and do housework in exchange for financial support. If you look at us, from the different perspective. We are no different than the young people who have the job, said Lee, whose family supported her in her decision to drop out of the rat race. They go to work in cities and earn the monthly salaries of 3,000 to 4,000 yuan, or $119 to $559. But they can't support themselves at all. They still eat at their parents' house. We live with them, or have them pay for their apartment or cars. Their living expenses are partially paid by parents, she said. Socialists say China's traumatic experiences with the strict pandemic measures has contributed to the number of young people radically rethinking their life goals and the parents supporting them. Mentally and psychologically, people in mainland China are still recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic, said Fa Shu, a continuing lecturer at the University of California, Berkeley. I believe the desire to spend quality time with your loved ones, the contemplation, contempli- contemplation, contemplation about the meaning of life or what is the most important things in life still lingers, she said. Shrinking, shrinking opportunities, furious competition. Love those may not conquer all. The professional children trend is also a sign that young people are facing rethinking opportunities in the economy that had previously powered ahead for decades, re- enriching the generations that are now supporting their young. After an initial burst of activity early this year, China's economic recovery has slowed and the business confidence remains weak. The private sector, the backbone of the economy and the biggest source of employment, has been hit by the sweeping regulatory crackdown since late 2020. Nancy Chan, a full-time daughter in eastern Jiaxi province, was affected by the campaign. The 24-year-old was teaching at a private tutoring school after graduating from college, but lost her job in 2021 when authorities banned for-profit tutoring services. In addition to in addition to her family duties, she's busy applying for government jobs and taking exams for graduate school. Chan says she hasn't landed anything yet because of furious competition. There were 30,000 applicants for three recent job vacancies at a municipal government in her province, she added. But I can't be a full time daughter for long, she said. I need to pass the exams or find a job, otherwise, I will have anxiety. An evening job fair at the Wanshu Palace, a historical cultural block, 2023 in southeast China's Jiaxi province. Not a solution. Ya Wenlei, a professor of sociology at Harvard University, said she expected the professional children phenomenon won't last long. The support they receive from their parents in this context is not surprising, as many Chinese parents assist their children with various aspects of life, such as housing, marriage expenses, and child care, she said, adding that most young people are likely to eventually secure employment. It's also not viable solution to the jobs problem in China, said George Magnus, a research associate at the China Center at Oxford University and SOAS University of London. It may be a short term fix so that they have somewhere to live, jobs to do, and family incomes as the quid pro quo. But if young people are not in the labor market acquiring skills and looking for better opportunities, they make them become unemployable, either because they have been out of work for too long or not managing to stay at the sharp ends of skills and training acquisition, Magnus said. This is condition in which short-term dislocations, for example, in a labor market become permanent, he said.